continue with your refreshments. My name is Wanda Marshall, and it is my privilege tonight on behalf of Councilmember Burke, Councilmember Dee Dee Adams, and of course our Honorary Chair, Roddy Flo, to welcome you to tonight's Outstanding Women Leaders Induction Ceremony. To look at this room is just amazing, and I would just say to the men in the room, you better be really, really nice, because you are definitely outnumbered. I'd also like to recognize the committee, another group of outstanding women who are responsible for this beautiful and lovely event tonight. And let's see, if you would, Courtney, driver here in the corner, and Susan Spainhauer. Susan, let's give these ladies. And Corrine Smith, who is another key member of our group, could not be with us tonight, but we appreciate all your efforts. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention our sponsor, which is Visit Winston-Salem. And is there anyone here tonight from Visit Winston-Salem that we'd like to thank you? Thank you so much for allowing us to be here and for all the good work that you do in our community. I think I'm a 2010 inductee. I think that's right. And I marvel at the list that's in the back of our program. And, you know, we come together once a year to not only celebrate what this group of women leaders has done, but also to encourage them to continue to do for our community. I know several of you that I've worked with in the past know one of my favorite little sayings is that, and looking at the age of the group, there are very few people in the group now that will remember Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. But I always love to say that Ginger Rogers took every step that Fred Astaire did, but she did it backwards and she did it in heels. So never underestimate the power of women leaders. Now, again, thank you for joining us tonight. And I'd like to introduce one of my former colleagues, and that's Councilmember Dee Dee Adams. Dee Dee.
Good evening, everyone. I have been asked to give some remarks about the occasion, and I'm pulling them from Judith Warner, a senior fellow for the Women's Leadership Gap at the Center for American Progress. Women are 50.8% of the United States population. We account for 57% of the United States labor force and 49% of the college-educated workforce. Although, we hold almost 52% of all the professional level jobs, American women lag substantially behind men when it comes to their representation in leadership positions. Even our on-screen image that you see, whether it's on television or online or social media, is basically created by men and not by women. To sum it up, women have outnumbered men on college campuses since 1988. They have earned at least 1/3 of the law degrees since 1980, accounted for fully 1/3 of the medical students by 1990, and yet they have not moved up to positions of prominence and power in America and anywhere near that rate that should have followed. In a broad range of fields, their presence in top leadership positions as equity law partners, medical school deans, corporate executives, remains stuck at between 10 and 20%. Their quote-unquote share of voice, the average proportion of their representation on op-ed pages and corporate boards and TV pundits and Wikipedia contributors and Hollywood writers and producers and directors and even members of Congress is just 18%. Women represent 43% of the vote between the ages of 18 and older. That's a lot. In fact, it is estimated that at the current rate that we're going, it will take until 2085. I don't think many of us will be here. Some of you might, the youngest ones might, for women to reach the parity that men have in key leadership roles in America. But tonight, the leadership numbers are increasing by 12. So I say to you, congratulations to the 2016 Outstanding Women Leaders. I apologize. You know, I have to do what I have to do because I have a mentor. But I am going to bring up, and we're going to, Mrs. Vivian H. Burke, Dr. Vivian H. Burke, who is the Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member of the Northeast Ward. If she'll come forward, she's been my mentor and my side partner since Councilmember Wanda Marshall left me. But Mrs. Burke is on my right-hand side, and she always gives me counsel on just about everything. And I appreciate her, and I want you to appreciate her by giving her a hand, please.
Good evening. It is such a lovely, lovely day. This is a very special occasion because on this day, Winston-Salem City Council made an important decision for this day. A few days ago, when we were having our council meeting, a resolution was passed. We are now a city with a committee dedicated to women. And these women will have different things on their agenda, and they will be bringing them forth so that all of us will be made aware of what women stand for and what they like to do. Now, Wanda wanted to get something started. We didn't tell her to pull that woman's card, but she did. So, women, it's time for you to step forward, as some of you have. This evening is especially a wonderful evening because it gives me a pleasure to present to some and introduce to others a very lovely lady. A lady who is a wonderful mother, and you know she's a wonderful wife, Mr. Flo. Some years ago, when I called Mr. Flo and asked him to provide an opportunity for some students who were at the Career Center so that they could have firsthand experience, and he said, oh, sure, we would be glad to do that. And before the day was over, two of his children called, grown children called and say, we want to do this, Maria and Don Flo. And I said, later on, as I thought about and observed the flows, I said, it has to be a wonderful lady somewhere. You trained your children well. You're kind, you're generous, and you are the first official honorary chair for the women's group. And we honor you tonight. Please come forward. I was supposed to have something. Okay.
Oh my.
We honor you this evening with this wonderful certificate of recognition presented to Roddy R. Flo, outstanding woman.
Outstanding leadership and service.
No.
That's all right, you can skip that anyway.
Take these glasses off. Oh, no, we don't want to skip it. We want to let them know who you are. Outstanding Women Leaders Honorary Chair in recognition of your outstanding leadership and service to our community on this day, Thursday, April the 28th, 2016, and is signed by Chairman Merchel and also Vivian H. Burke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, we have this gift. And of course, we're just so happy for you. And I want the women as well as the men, because when men, young boys growing up and young girls growing up, they always see people they can admire. They want nice women to be wives. And they want to know that they are strong women. And I want you to know our city is so blessed, and we're fortunate to have you in this first honorary chair position, because you will be a mentor and a role model for so many, and you're so generous and kind within your heart. So at this time, I want you to say something.
I said I would say a few words because it is a privilege to have been named the honorary chair. I think maybe age has something to do with it. I'm a bit older than the rest of these honorees. But that's all right. I'm thankful, and they are all so wonderful and have all done such wonderful things for this city. Over 50 years ago, Vic and I made the decision to move our family to Winston-Salem to set up business here, and we've been here ever since, and it's a decision that we have never regretted. We've seen lots of changes in Winston-Salem since then. Probably the most notable one that I think about the most is when we lost a large number of our major industries. They either left, closed, were gone, moved their headquarters elsewhere. Nice to know a couple of them came back. But you know, and then some writer said that 4th Street was going to be a dust bowl in his future. Well, our citizens, our city, our institution, and our businesses said, no way. We are going to bring this city back. We're going to use all the leadership that we have, male, female, children, whatever. And we have done this. We have brought Winston-Salem back, not as far as we want to come, but a long ways back. So we now are looking forward to it, and I think that if you ride down 4th Street, it doesn't look like a dust bowl. It's full of people walking, singing, talking, living, everywhere. It is becoming a vibrant downtown. And one writer once said that you can't have a vibrant city without a vibrant downtown. So I say congratulations to all of you who have worked so hard to bring this city back to a wonderful city to live in, and I am proud to live in Winston-Salem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want Roddy to know it had nothing to do with the age and asking you to be our honorary chair. We ask you to be it because we know that you stand for what you believe and that you love this city.
I do.
And that you will be the lady that can move women in a direction where they need to be moving. So we're very pleased and happy, and we're grateful that you will accept it, because it's not only for this year, but you have 2 more years. You served 3 years.
You didn't tell me that. Now you're telling me.
Now you're happy now in front of all these people. Okay.
Well, good afternoon again to everyone. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces looking so happy and proud for your recipient on such a beautiful occasion. And a wise woman once said how important it is for us to recognize and celebrate our heroes and our sheroes. And that wise woman was Dr. Maya Angelou. Rest in peace. So I'm really happy to see that everyone is here for the 2016 Outstanding Women's Leader Reception. Kudos to everyone for being here, because the weather outside is kind of frightful. My name, as many of you know, is Dana Suggs, and for the past 13 years I've been the very proud owner of Body and Soul, which is located on Trade Street in the heart of the Arts District. And if you haven't been to Body and Soul is 4 stores in one, where we sell jewelry and accessories. We have a book room, a skincare line, all based with shea butter, which is very popular. Incense and oils. In the back of our store is our gallery. When Courtney called me and said, "Hey, do you think you might be available to participate in the reception?" I was like, yeah. Of course, I would be fashionably late. Our store closes at 6 o'clock, but of course, and not just because I have also been a past recipient, it's because I love Miss Burke. And there's nothing I wouldn't do for her because she's done so much for all of us. And I would like to think that perhaps Dr. Angelo was thinking about Miss Burke when she was writing that Phenomenal Woman poem that she did. Because whenever she comes into our store, it makes me think of her. There's a line in Phenomenal Woman that says, "When she walks into a room, just as cool as you please." Is that not Miss Burke? She walks into a room just as cool as can be. And then we all swarm around her like a hive of honeybees. She's a phenomenal woman, Miss Vivian Burke. That's she. Miss Burke has championed this Outstanding Women's Leaders program, I believe, for about 13 years. I actually counted it, and I was looking at and seeing that as of last year, 128 women have received this honor. And tonight we will induct 12 more, making this total of Outstanding Women Leaders to 140 ladies, which is also quite wonderful. Each year we select a group of women, as you know, that are honored for their significant contributions that they have made to the Winston-Salem community and through their professional achievement and community service. And it's one of the things that Ms. Burke has always been really strong about is uplifting women. And this is one of her ways to continue to acknowledge and strengthen the everyday, taking care of business, the get out of my face with the nonsense type of woman. So without further ado, we're going to acknowledge them, and we're going to give them the, as they say, the acknowledgement and the recognition that they so deserve. So without further ado, the first recipient was the first African American female at Wachovia Corporation to be given the title of Senior Vice President in 1989, and was the first African American female to be elected to Senior Vice President Group Executive in 1993. And this is Miss Veronica C. Black. Come on up. I feel like I know Veronica, even though we don't really know each other. But my maiden name was Black, and I gave it up for Suggs because my mother said, you can't do the hyphen thing, Black Suggs, it doesn't sound right. I don't know about that, Miss Veronica. I wish I would have kept it, but you know, he's a good man. The next recipient manages a child care facility that has achieved a 5-star rating, which is actually the highest rating, for approximately 18 years. Wary Inc. has impacted the lives of many children and families within the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County community. Wary Inc. is a family business that was started by Miss Dunn's mother, Miss Peggy Wary. And the recipient is Antoinette Wary Dunn. Congratulations. Yeah, whatever.
You want it up?
Down? Yes, indeed. Congratulations, my sister. The next recipient played a very critical role in securing a famous artist, John Biggers, to paint 2 original murals on the campus in the atrium of the O'Kelly Library, located on the campus of Winston-Salem State University. These murals continue to be a very popular attraction for our community. So we have to thank Ms. Doris Harrell. I think that's good. It doesn't sound like How lovely. Thank you. Fabulous outfit, Ms. Harrell. Excuse me. Our next recipient started S&L Painting and Decorating, Inc. As a single mom with 3 children and a $200 investment as a MWBE, minority-owned business in the Southeast, and now the business has a multi-million-dollar revenue stream. And that's all thanks to, it's pronounced Lyda? Lyda, oh, forgive me, Lyda Hayes Calvert. So you can learn something new every day, Lyda. Thank you. You just have to be open to it. Thank you so very much. Our next recipient has been accepted into the Leadership Matters Institute of Forsyth County and impacts the lives of many early learners and educators in the community. Let's welcome Ms. Sabrina Hinton. Sabrina is a professor at Salem College. Congratulations. The next recipient is the Director of Community Engagement for the Arts Council of Winston-Salem, Forsyth County. He's a community advocate for the local businesses and the arts and has worked with artists, city officials, community groups, and local businesses to promote the city of Winston-Salem as the City of Arts and Innovations. Let's congratulate Ms. Susan Morris. Oh, man. Congratulations. The next recipient is the Executive Director of Experience in Self-Reliance, Inc. She was nominated for the Women of the Year at the Chronicle's annual Community Service Banquet. She was also awarded the Masonic Temple's Women of the Year Award. This is Ms. Tawana Roebuck. The next recipient is the research scientist, regenerative medicine at Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine. That's a mouthful. She's also involved in a significant research pertaining to growing organs in a lab using patients' own cells, basically engineering an organ as well as treating disorders, disease, injuries using stem cells. How impressive. Good, my gracious. Welcome, please, Ms. Sita Samara. This just gives me chills reading these credentials. It's just so powerful. Just makes you feel really good as a woman, right? We're going to be so charged when we leave out of here to do good things. And that's what this program is about. It's to encourage us to want to continue to do good things. You men, okay. The next recipient is the co-founder of HOPE of Winston-Salem, which stands for Help Our People Eat. She practiced pediatrics for 33 years in Winston-Salem and also founded, as we just said, HOPE of Winston-Salem with her husband, Ben. Please, let's all congratulate Marguerite Tennille. Congratulations. The next recipient is the CEO of Piedmont Advantage Credit Union. So don't bum Russia, okay? She began her professional career by founding the Cape Fear Employees Credit Union at 22 years old. Let's congratulate Miss Judy Tsar. Congratulations, Judy. She did it when she was 1 year old. Our last recipient, last but definitely not least at all, is a retired law enforcement officer. It says administrative deputy, sheriff, and was the 1989 Outstanding Officer of the Year Award recipient. And that goes to Miss Phyllis Griffin Walker. Don't mess with her. I'm just saying. Let's give all of these ladies a round of applause for their achievements.
Such a wonderful evening. I always ask if we have elected officials. I do have to now and then see one of them. We do have Superior Court Judge L. Todd Burke and his wife, Mrs. Burke. We do have retired Judge Tennille. Where did I see Judge Tennille? Thank you. Are there any other elected officials? Clerk of, oh, I saw, yes, Fry. What is Fry? Susan. Okay, thank you. If there are any other elected officials, please stand so we know you're here. Oh, yes, school board, Lyda. Thank you so very much. We want everybody to leave here just as happy as they can be. This has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I want to say to Roddy, you made the difference by accepting this honorary chair.
Well, thank you.